Welcome back to another adventure out in the woods, and I'm currently just hiking into the forest to find somewhere to set up camp. And today I'm going to be sharing with you possibly the coolest bushcraft trick, hack, whatever you want to call it, that I have ever been shown. It basically involves 4 pieces of wood cut to exactly the same size, and I would go as far as to say that I would call it a game changer. Certainly is for me anyway. On top of that, I've been sent an all new tent to try out. It's a 4-in-1 tent. It's tiny, it's light. I haven't even opened it yet. So today we're going to find out what that's like together and then hopefully rustle up a bit of food. All right, let's go. Alright guys, welcome back, and we're actually in a part of the forest that I've been to a couple of times before, and some of you eagle-eyed viewers out there may be looking at it going, hold on a second, I know that spot. And that's because a few videos ago I actually built a compression cot right here actually between these very same trees that I'm going to use to put this up today. And if you haven't seen that video, it's this one here. Super comfy cot, by the way. But here I've got something all new. I've been sent a Travel Bird 4-in-1 tent, and it's tiny. I don't know if that really helps with perspective. There it is next to my bag. A bag that no doubt I'm going to get lots of questions about again, because I always do. My wife bought me this bag for my birthday, and I don't know exactly where she got it from or who she bought it from, other than I'm pretty sure it was Etsy, and it was one of those artisan bushcraft bag manufacturers, handmade type things. So if you type that into etsy.com, I'm sure you'll find something that looks like this and you'll know, but I love it. Anyway, so this is the Sky Nest, and there it is. There's the 4-in-1 instructions. And before we get that set up, the first thing I want to do is go and harvest 4 pieces of wood for this bushcraft hack that I'm also excited to share before I get dinner on the go. So let's get cracking, shall we? Alright, so step one is cut all the logs to the same size. Step 2 is cut a notch in the same place in each one of those 4 logs. And then we're going to put them together. I've trimmed those up to sit together a little bit more flush. That's nice. And that one there. Who's figured out what it is yet? I'm sure most of you probably have. But this is basically a variation on the Swedish torch, or Norwegian torch or the Canadian candle. It's basically a rocket stove. So I'm going to put all 4 of these together and tie it up with a little bit of wire. And then inside here in this base, this is going to be our chamber for starting the fire. That's going to burn up the middle here like a chimney. And then that should burn down nice and slowly. Then we can put our pan on top and cook some food. And ever since I saw a Swedish torch, I think the first place I saw it was on my friend's channel, a guy called John Locker. He's got a channel called The Fish Locker. And sometimes he goes out foraging with his son and catches some lobsters and scallops and all sorts of really cool stuff, and then I'll see him go back to the beach and he'll actually have like a proper Swedish torch cut out and he'll fire that up and sit on the beach with his son and eat a freshly caught lobster. And I always thought, oh, it looks really cool, but it always just seemed a bit too cumbersome for me to drag that all up into the woods. So I'm actually really happy that I'm going to be able to give that a go with this variation. So let's get it going, huh? All right, let's close that up. All right, now that wood is all set up, let's just have a closer look at this tent. So it's the Travelbird Skynest 4-in-1 ultra light hammock tent, and it is super light. And on the side here, we've got a little Velcro pocket. And inside this Velcro pocket, we have some aluminium tent pegs. So some pretty nice tent pegs there, to be fair. All right, let's get it out and put it up and see how she looks, shall we? Got a couple of little carabiners here that look like they're pretty strong. Let's get them on the strap. Alright, I think this bit is the hammock, I suppose, and we've got like a line, I suppose like a ridge line, but it's actually connected to either end where the carabiners are. And we've got this little bag here. It's quite handy. You can like put some stuff in there, like your phone, and you've got the same pockets either side, so you can actually fit a whole bunch of stuff in there, like a charger, your phone, a little torch, spare battery. That's kind of cool. There's not actually any instructions that come with it, so I'm kind of figuring this out on the fly. But this looks like, here we go, the tent actually does unzip entirely if you just want to use it as a hammock, but we're going to go for the hammock with a tarp tent over the top of it configuration, so let's figure that one out. Alright, so this tarpauling tent section has a couple more carabiners. I'm just going to clip those into and see how that looks. Starting to look a bit more like it. So I was just trying to figure out, like, am I going to need to put my own guidelines on this? I can't see anything in the packet. And then I just looked underneath, and they've got this little pocket here, I don't know if you can see it, just stitched into the fabric, and then tucked away inside there are all these guide ropes. So that's pretty cool. There's quite a lot of thought that's gone into this. too bad. It's pretty easy to set up. Let me show you. So inside the actual hammock tent itself, you've got the tarpaulin, which has this bug net attached to it, then attaches to the hammock here by this zip, so it's actually completely detachable. And as you can see here, we can actually unzip around this line, and you can take the whole thing off quite easily actually. And then obviously you just have the tarpaulin with a little bit of a bug net on it. But if you do it up, it'll actually go all the way around this line. So it's pretty hard to show you exactly how wide this is, but if I spread out, here, let me hold the camera back. Look at that. That's insane. I'm pretty sure you could fit 2 people in here. It's massive. Absolutely huge. And it really is super light. The packaging says the whole thing combined is 1.5 kilos. I haven't actually weighed it. It doesn't feel like it weighs even that much, but it's very lightweight. I think this would be absolutely fantastic for a whole load of summer adventures, especially if you want to travel fast and light. So far I'm impressed. Right, so now we've got that tent all squared away, that hammock and tarp setup looks absolutely spot on. It's time to get this little torch fired up, and then once this is going, it's dinner time. So just as I was talking about starting a fire, I saw this really old rotten pine. You see this little branch that's sticking out here, whilst everything else falls away, that is still quite solid. That would tell me that there's probably some resin in there that we can use to get this fire going. Oh, look at that. Do you see how much darker that section is there? All the rest is rotted away, and then you've got this nice dark section here full of resin. That should catch fire beautifully. Alright, so as you can see here, I've actually brought my fire pit down from the car, just purely because we've had a really dry week here this last week, and it is, to be fair, nearly October, so I'm not complaining, but the idea or the thought of putting a fire on the floor, it never really seems like a good idea, but especially if we've had a dry week. So better safe than sorry. We're in the fire pit, and I've got my little fire bag, and inside here I've got some fat wood and I've got some birch bark, and I'm just going to create a little fire bundle, get that going, a few twigs and bits and pieces to hopefully get the whole thing to catch, and then once that's roaring, dinner time. You can really notice the colour difference where the resinous wood meets the old dead wood. I suppose it's all dead, but the rotted wood. I love that smell. It smells like a fire's about to get going. Alright, that stove is burning absolutely beautifully now. It is burning a little bit smoky, and I imagined it would because or the timber we used was still quite green. So I set the fire up on the far end of camp purely because we have a southwesterly wind coming through, which is blowing the smoke away from us. So not really a problem if you work around it, but that water looks like it's nearly done. Let's check it out. Yes. Won't need too long. Beautiful ravioli pasta, some tomato sauce. You know when you're so hungry? It's just what I needed. That little stove did pretty good, huh? I think I will definitely be using that again. Oh, perfect. After all that, getting it set up and moaning that I didn't have an instruction manual, not that it was actually hard to get set up like this, actually, it was pretty easy, but I did wonder about all the other configurations, like how to do them all, and it turns out there was an instruction manual. There it is, right there. I missed it, my fault. And there is a whole load of different configurations for the sky, nest, hammock, tent, whether you want to use it as a tarp, a hammock, a tent, a hammock tent, but also, interestingly, can you see there? Right there. So there's actually a little section that zips open that you can put a sleep mat in, which will both help with insulation and the ability to lie flat and be just less banana shaped. But yeah, sadly my sleep mat, like a lot of my equipment, died on my last adventure when I slept on it in the hammock in the middle of the river. If you haven't seen that video, it's this one here. And yeah, sadly it has bit the dust and I'm yet to order a new one. But it's going to be Bananarama tonight, and maybe the next time I use it I'll have a new sleep mat. We shall see. But let's go check the fire out. It's starting to burn down a bit now. Alright. As that Swedish torch was coming to the end of its time, it all just kind of collapsed in on itself, where the material had all been burned away, but there was still like half of each log left. Oh wow, there's too much firewood there just to like let it go completely. So I've put a few dead pines on there just to get the flames up again and hopefully burn through the rest of that hardwood. But I really love this little hack, and I'm going to be using it loads more in the future, where I didn't think I would ever end up using a Swedish torch that much because it was so cumbersome. The idea that you can just have a little folding saw, mill up 4 little bits of wood and put them together. In fact, when I was making it, I thought you could probably get away with like 3 bits of wood. That would still work. I guess 4 gives you better stability and a bigger cooking surface area, but I reckon you could get away with 3. What do you think? 3 sound good, or would you stick with 4? Jump in the comments, let me know. But yeah, my goal now is just like every week I'm just constantly trying to learn just one new thing. Think of it like a human Swiss Army knife. If I can just add one more skill to my repertoire, if I do learn something interesting, then I think with each video I do, I'm going to try and share something cool that I think I've learned, and yeah, hopefully make these videos a bit more interesting for you guys as well. still can't quite believe how big this thing is. Look at that. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm over 6 foot tall. I'm 100 kilos. It's about 15.5 stone in English. And like, I'm not a small person. And if you're like a larger than life character, you know, you're a big fella or lady, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I imagine you're probably going to fit in this thing. So if any of you would like any more information on this tent, I'm just going to pop a link in the description, and I'll pop a link in the pinned comment, whichever's easier for you to find. I'm not affiliated with this company. I'm not paid by this company. I did get sent this tent for free though, so take that as you will. I like it, and if you want some more information, again, go check it out. I am looking forward to getting some shot eye though. So I hope you've enjoyed coming out into the woods on another little mini adventure with me, and I hope you enjoyed the little bushcraft hack. And how many of you already knew about it? Be honest, jump in the comments, let me know. Or how many of you thought, no, first time I've seen it, loved it, I'd love to see more tips and tricks. Right, on that bombshell. Good night guys, bye for now.